Okay, so we have the hook, and then we go immediately into the problem mechanism, the root cause of their pain. And this is very common with the e-commerce gadgets, that they go immediately from the hook, and the lead is explanation of the real cause of the problem. And it's highly engaging, and it just it starts the whole process. There's no setup, there's no agitate. It's just immediately into the problem mechanism. Very engaging, because Facebook will find the right traffic, and the kind of people who have this problem want to know what's causing it. So 75% of the population are slowly destroying their neck every single day. So it's not directly calling out the viewer now. In the hook it was just to capture attention, but now we're going to explain it to them objectively. 75% of the population, I've highlighted this because it's somewhat of a proof element, because using numbers, statistics, and phrases like research shows is not common everyday language. It's proof language, it's authority figure language, it's credibility language, okay? And it makes it easier to accept these things, especially that we're not saying you. When they sit at their desk or use their phone, their head protrudes forward, and research shows that for every inch the head protrudes forward, an extra 10 pounds of force is added to the neck. That's the equivalent of a bowling ball. So nice visualization there. Over time, the muscles compensate, and this causes that neck hump as well as soreness, strain, etc. And this physical problem affects your mood, energy, focus, and productivity. And you could even add, if this were a longer VSL or a more aware market, you could add something like the emotional benefits. So it's the emotional problem. So you have the physical problem, which is physical pain, then the dimensionalization of that, how it affects them, and then a more specific one would be, which means you don't get to enjoy life the way you want to, the way you deserve to, and the way your family, whatever. You can dimensionalize it further. But in this case, it's very short and to the point. That's what's working right now on the Facebook, on the ad side, for when it comes to VSLs, is short, to the point, and very high impact language. Not a lot of emotionality, mostly educational advertising, which I believe is the future. Then we've described the problem mechanism in a way that's easy to accept and is very simple. We explain what causes it, what action causes it. This is also very common with these e-commerce VSLs. A visualization of it. So for back pain, it would be like, imagine a 100-pound weight crushing down the sensitive little discs in your lower spine. Or for knee pain, it could be, imagine the rough bones in your knees grinding together without that soft cartilage cushion to keep them separated, to keep them soothed. Then we transition into searching for solutions. So we've captured their attention with the hook. We called them out by their pain. And then we'd explain to them the real root cause of the problem. So we've solved the problem for them. We've explained to them something they didn't know before, but that creates a new problem. Okay, I know the solution. I know the problem now, but what's the solution? And that's why we transition into, right as the viewer would be thinking, okay, so what's the solution? So it mimics their thoughts, which is highly engaging. What can we do? Because we can't just stop working or using our phones. Common solutions just don't cut it. And now we're going to go into the alternative solutions and why they don't work, which fundamentally is because they don't address the real root cause of the problem, meaning you don't get the relief you need because you're just solving the wrong issue. And the problem continues even if you get short-term relief. So it's chiropractors. Your neck will go back to how it was because it doesn't solve the root cause. It's also costs money, so we're taking it down a little bit. Painkillers, also short-term. And now we transition. So think about what we've done. We've captured attention. Okay, this is about my neck pain. Then we've explained what causes it. Okay, now I know the real root cause of my neck pain. It's interesting. I believe it, or I kind of believe it. So what do I do about it? Well, you can't do these things that everyone tells me to do because they won't target the root cause. And then where do you go from there? You say, okay, so what can I do? What's an actual solution? So now they're not just asking for how do I fix it? They're saying, give me a specific solution, because the ones that are out there don't work for this specific problem. And that's when we get into introducing the product, right when they're thinking about it. And we'll introduce it with a story and proof elements, not just pitching them on the product. Because so far we haven't sold them anything. We only sell much later in the video. Now, here's the product intro. A top chiropractor, there's a proof element right there, developed a breakthrough solution that's guaranteed to fix your neck hump in just 30 days or your money back. So let's review the copy elements. So the big problem is neck pain and neck hump, mostly neck hump. Because as you see in the hook, is your neck starting to look like this? It's an insecurity thing about the way their neck looks, not as much about the pain. The pain is a secondary benefit. Then the big promise is that it's a breakthrough solution that's going to fix your neck hump in 30 days. So that's the big promise. It's going to fix your neck hump. The problem is you have it. The promise is it's going to fix this. The problem mechanism is that your head is protruding forward, putting pressure, and the muscles compensate, creating the hump. Visualized with the bowling ball. Again, I like that a lot. I think it could be more vivid, but again, it does the job. This is a very successful funnel. And then the solution mechanism, we're about to get into that now. Some of the proof elements we're also going to get into now. suppliers to 58 chiropractic clinics worldwide who in unison have treated tens and thousands, I think it's supposed to be tens of thousands of people with our products. We're able to analyze the next. So look at this. We're treating tens of thousands of people. So far, they're still not selling you anything. You don't know that anything's for sale. So it's just an objective story, like a little documentary. 58 clinics, 11,000 people analyzing the data, specific information. I mean, if you just look at the language, it's very heavy on proof. So it's a little story from an expert and then a lot of proof. I think this is the reason that this VSL works so well, even though it's only 4 minutes long, straight to a product page. And when you go straight to a product page successfully, especially doing 7 figures and selling the business, that means that there's a lot of buying intent created in the ad. And I think the reason the buying intent is so strong in this ad is because there are so many proof elements. It's a very, very good way to remove skepticism. And that's what creates, because the advertorial is there when you don't create enough buying intent or you're really trying to boost the AOV. But usually it's because the conversion rate would not be high enough to scale if you went straight to a product page. But in this case, it is, because this VSL takes away so much skepticism and makes it so easy and such a no-brainer to buy. Then we get into the solution mechanism. So we introduce the product. It's called the neck cloud. It targets the real root cause of those neck humps. This is big. This is the solution mechanism, or it's going to be coming up. It targets the problem mechanism. And now we're going to explain how it works. So we don't just introduce them the solution, the problem mechanism, and then the product. We say why the product works. And specifically, we connect the product to the solution mechanism, which is what solves the problem mechanism. The chiropractor designed the device with a unique curve. Or another way to do this is a breakthrough, a brand new, a newly invented, to show it's unique. Otherwise, it's not as easily accepted because they would assume that they've heard of it before. But by saying it's new, it takes away all that skepticism, because no wonder they haven't heard of it. It's brand new. And it's an evidence-based technique called cervical traction. And there we have our solution mechanism. That's what makes this product work. Fancy way of saying stretches the neck at a specific angle, and that's the specific angle that unlocks the neck like a master key. Very powerful phrasing here. We're not getting too in detail, in depth, and wordy. We're getting very clear. Every sentence in this VSL is very clear with what it's trying to do. This helps the previous statement have meaning, because this is just technical. It stretches the neck at an angle. That means, so remember, think of it always this way. When you describe the mechanisms, describe, that means. So your neck protrudes forward and it pushes and your muscles compensate. That means, it's like having a bowling ball. So essentially you're adding an emotional component to the technical component. In this case, we say, this is the technical thing that it does, and it's still important. You need to have this, but this is not what's going to sell it. This is what sets up this. That means it unlocks your neck like a master key. It decompresses the tight muscles. And again, so we go technical. That means, right, it decompresses the muscles, yada, yada. That means it reverses your neck hump. So connect the function to the outcome, always. And now we have a testimonial. I've been working from home the last couple of years. My head was sliding further forward. And look at this. My mom worked in an office her whole life, and she developed this really ugly neck hump as well as chronic pain. So the primary problem is the ugliness of the neck hump, as well as chronic pain, the secondary problem. And I didn't want to go down the same path. So this is agitating the problem by saying, not only is it bad, but it's going to get much worse if nothing is done. And it's not overtly saying that to the viewer. It's saying that in a third-person testimonial, again, easing away the skepticism. I was just scrolling late one night and saw an ad for the neck cloud, and it was definitely an impulse buy. Again, this is how they unwind that skepticism. When you address and acknowledge tension that the viewer has in their mind, it immediately melts it away. And this is the same in your personal life. If there's something in the back of your head, it's going to stress you out, like you're avoiding something. But if you just acknowledge it, and you address it, the tension goes out, the emotionality of it goes out. So in this case, we're acknowledging the skepticism, right? It's an impulse buy. Okay, if they're thinking that, then their tension has gone down. And now we address skepticism more. Let me just finish the testimonial. And then it worked well for them. It's mentally relaxing, and they don't even explain. This continues. I thought this was the end of the testimonial. Then we address skepticism, and look at how this is done. This is very good. I know it looks like a gimmick. Okay, we take the tension out of that. And that's what I was thinking too, but it really works. So what the viewer's thinking, I agree with you, but it works. So we take them from here they're very skeptical. Okay, now we acknowledge their skepticism, now they move more here. And now the narrator, the third party, objective third party, says, I was thinking that same thing. Okay, then we move them even more. Now they're getting on our side because we're mimicking their thoughts, but it really works. And then we just overtly shift the skepticism. but it really works, but it really does what it's promising. It really works like magic. So if you're someone who's struggling with neck pain, I recommend the Neck Cloud. It's been an absolute lifesaver. Okay, a wonderful testimonial, very well done. And then we go into social proof. Now we're getting into selling. Okay, now we're going to be slowly getting into selling the product. We've helped thousands of people stand up taller and get back to the things they love completely pain-free. Now I understand the skepticism. Again, we acknowledge it. Will this device work for me? Again, we acknowledge their skeptical thoughts to remove that tension and to show that we're not afraid of their skepticism. We're willing to acknowledge it and bring it out to the surface because we're not worried. We're not afraid. Well, Ken go back, the company behind the Neck Cloud. So it's not saying we, it's not saying I, it's saying the company. It's, again, very documentary style, very third party, we're talking about this product or this brand or this problem as just a commentator. That's the angle. That's the emotion. That's the tone. That's the tone of the VSL. And it really bypasses a lot of skepticism and gets a lot of engagement because people want to learn about their problems, right? That's why they're watching this, because they're learning about their problem, right? The lead is why they're watching, by the way. So the rest of the VSL has to flow naturally from that. If you go from the lead directly into selling, it's going to be tough. Of course, still the market is very new to direct response, so it could still work. But in general, the rest of the VSL has to flow from the lead because this is why they're watching in the first place, right? We captured their attention with this. So this is who's watching, and this is why they're watching, because they wanted to learn and they're interested in the real root cause. Then they offer their guarantee, and look at how they sell it. I like how they sell their guarantee. They don't just say we offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. They first of all give it a name, results or full refund. I suggest giving a name to everything in your copy elements. The problem can be named something like the whatever neck pain epidemic, the neck hump pandemic, the neck hump crisis. That makes it more powerful, more emotional, more memorable. The guarantee should have a name, or results or full refund, or satisfaction completely guaranteed, or my reputation on the line guarantee. And then the problem and solution mechanism should have like a name as well. So for the solution mechanism, it was cervical traction. For the problem mechanism, it easily could have been cervical compression. So after we explain it, or before, we say the real root cause is cervical compression. That's when your head protrudes forward, etc. And then we can reference the problem mechanism much easier throughout the VSL because we've attached an emotion to that word by explaining how it causes the problem. So every time we talk about targeting it and solving it, we're borrowing the emotion we created before and solving that in their minds. And then we explain the guarantee. What that means is you get 60 days to try the Neck Cloud. If you haven't improved your posture, gotten the results you wanted, you get a full refund. And then they go even further. How do I return it? If it's used, you don't. Your satisfaction comes first. You don't even need to return it. So this is a very powerful framing of the guarantee and selling of it. And then we have a very simple 3-sentence CTA. We made a limited run, so it's scarcity, and they're selling fast, urgency. If you can still order, again, scarcity, that means their stock's still available. So they really push the urgency and scarcity, and then boom, click the link. I recommend clicking the link and getting yours today. This VSL is very powerful because it's straight and to the point. It has good mechanisms, great explanations. It's educational. It has a great structure, which you can steal. I've highlighted all the points of the structure. You can just follow it along. It targets a big problem in a very clear way. It says we're going to solve it. And it does a great job of addressing and diffusing skepticism by acknowledging it, by agreeing with it, and then by shifting it over to acceptance. Okay, this is a very effective VSL and one that I highly recommend copying for e-commerce gadgets and for less aware markets. Again, it goes straight to a product page because the selling is so powerful in the VSL. It's a normal kind of long form sales page. Also, you can use this, you can copy this. One thing to note is that they do a lot of order bumping because, again, they didn't do a lot of AOV boosting in the, hold on, I've added a lot of these to my cart. They didn't do a lot of AOV boosting in the VSL. So the way they boost their AOV is having a lot of order bumps because they have the buying intent. So they have high ticket order bumps. And once you add those, look at this. I mean, this is amazing. Okay, you can upgrade your whole bundle. So they're really boosting the AOV. And then what they have here is a $30 lifetime warranty. This is $30 in pure profit. So that's literally just pure profit. If you get 1 out of every 5 people or 1 out of every 10 people to buy this one and 1 out of every 5 to buy this one, let's just say you get in the average, maybe for every 10 orders, you get an extra $50 in pure profit, that's an extra $5 profit per order on a low ticket product. So if your AOV, let's say their AOV is, $80, they just boosted their profit margin by, what is that, 8%, 7.5%. That's huge just by having these here. Okay. And look at that. I ended up not just paying $50, and now I'm paying $126. And if I buy the warranty, I'm paying $160. So this is a very profitable order, all because they've created a lot of buying intent through addressing skepticism. I also have a link for the actual ad, so you can see how they do their video editing. It's a great ad. I have the foreplay link. You can check it out. If you have any questions, any feedback, if you want more of these type of videos, long form, in-depth VSL and funnel analysis, please let me know. I can go even more in depth in the funnel. For example, I could break down maybe one of Neuro's funnels and go in depth on the VSL and the advertorial and the sales page and the upsells and go through all of that. I would definitely be willing to do that. I'd be happy to share that. It would just be a longer video. But if you guys don't mind, 30, 40-minute breakdown videos going really in depth on why these funnels work, I'd be happy to do that. So please comment if that's something that's interesting to you. You can get in touch with me by DMing me on Instagram. And you can also get my free swipe file in the description, a bunch of VSLs, 200 of them, advertorials, etc. Everything you need to have a direct response swipe file for e-commerce. All right, take it easy, my friends, and have a good one. Peace.